Hello, welcome to our short mixed ability video. We're going to do a quick setup. If you need to do the full setup, if you haven't done the full setup before, we do have a free video on how to set up. So the quick setup is with your feet width apart, soft knees, so a little bit of giving your knees, level pelvis, arms by side, just make sure you're not hanging forward of your legs, and the shoulders just pull gently back and down, nice long neck, chin on a shelf, and you're engaging that pelvic floor about 20-30%, so a little lift either at the front of your pelvic floor, as though you're trying to stop yourself going to the toilet, or alternatively think about your belly button just coming in just a little bit. That'll engage your deep stabilising muscles. So we're going to go straight into our warm-up. So you can follow Tracy as soon as you like. So she's going to go into a rotation with arm swings. So she's letting the whole of the body rotate. The feet are planted, of course, and try and get those feet in a nice secure position. Long toes, the end of the toes just gently pressing down. Try and maintain your arch. So she's rotating right through the body, right through the spine. She's just looking slightly over her shoulder, and she's bringing her arms up. Anything else you're doing, Tracy?
I'm thinking about that pole going right through the centre of my body.
She's thinking about a pole going right through the top of her head, right down through her body, and into the floor in between her legs. Well done, Tracy. And then we're going to go into a lateral trunk bend. So feet a little bit wider. Again, think about equal weight on the front and back of your feet, and left and right. And you can again follow Tracy as soon as you like. So centre just a little bit, and she's bringing one hand up to her ear, and just in a little side bend the other way. Imagine you're in between two sheets of glass, so no twisting. Just start off with a comfortable range of movement, and then maybe take it just slightly further, but don't strain. The head is following the spine. So again, we're warming into the trunk there, the spine, and a little bit of arm movement. Okay, finishing there, and we're going to a squat next. So start off with your hands lightly on your hips. Really concentrate now on that equal weight between the front and back of your feet, and try and maintain that right throughout this squat. We're going to be breathing in on the way down and out on the way up. So you're imagining sitting back and bowing forward slightly as you bend at the knees. That should be in one nice fluid action. Feet nicely balanced still. So you're not going onto your heels or not onto your toes. The only exception really is if you don't think that your glutes are working. Just think about pressing into the heel just a very, very slightly more. From that sort of flex position, your glutes should be lifting you up more than your hamstrings. Keeping a neutral spine all the time. So the back is actually doing absolutely nothing. It's all ankle, knee, hip, which is really important. Breathe in on the way down, out on the way up. And okay, finish on that one. Feet a little bit wider. So we're going to do some lateral sways. We're going to put a little bit of balance in this. So again, you can follow Tracy as soon as you're ready. She's got the hands on her hips, she's centred. And we're just starting with lifting the heel. So we're flexing just at the ankle. She's trying to maintain a posture as she goes to the side. And we can play around with the speed a little bit, can't we, Tracy? Mm-hmm. So slower is sometimes harder. We can just sort of use muscles slightly differently if we speed it up. So maybe speed it up a little bit, but still trying to maintain that posture.
Keeping that nice space between your rib and your hip at both sides.
So maybe Tracy can show you how not to do it. So what we're after not doing is hiking a hip up, and we're not after hip shifting either, are we? Where we shift the hips to the side. Do that as well. No, you did hiking.
I did both.
Did you?
Yeah, I did it again.
Look the same to me. Then stick with that if you want to. If you want to take it a little bit further, as we go to the side, we'll just pause, so in a little balance. Lift the foot, drop the toe, drop the heel, go on to the other side. So a nice little balance. Balance improves really quickly, so if you practice this sort of thing, you will be astounded how quickly you can improve it. So a little balance, stick with that if you like that, or we can take it into a little bit more dynamic work and working the hip a little bit more, where we speed up a little bit again, not too much, and we start to lift the leg out to the side just a little bit. Again, think about that pelvis being nice and stable, maintain that distance between your ribs and your pelvis. So we're starting to work the hips a little bit more, and we're working the adductors, the inner thigh muscles as well. All important muscles when you're moving around to keep you stable.
So now?
And it looks good too.
Feels good.
And just a few more. Was there anything else you want to add to that?
Maybe just a balance at the end, one on each side, holding it up.
You could do, yeah, if you feel like that, you could balance out to the side there. You should be able to do that without bringing your arms in. You should have the stability around your pelvis, but don't prop yourself up with your hands, so don't jam those hands into your side. They're just there so you can monitor your pelvis and not use those upper back muscles as a means to balance. Give your hips a rub, okay, rub your arm, and then we're going down onto the floor, okay. So now we've gone down onto our mat. We're going to start off with a Greyhound. We're just going to build it up gradually, stick with levels that you are happy with. So again, you can follow Tracy as soon as you're ready. So she's going to centre, she's going to do a little leg stretch, so she's straightening one leg. Breathe in as it comes back down, pop it down where it started, on to the other side. What you're looking to do here is really maintain that position of the pelvis. So as you lift that leg, if you feel your pelvis wants to tip over slightly, just lightly engage a little bit more. Golden rule is the minimum muscle tension you need to maintain that position, so don't just brace and try and hold it all in. And then we're going to take the opposite arm away at the same time. So as you stretch the leg out, opposite arm goes back. Try not to lift your ribs here, so if you feel you've got restrictions in your shoulder, don't take it too far. You can have a little stretch across there, but not too much. That might be something you need to work on if you're a little bit inflexible there. It might spoil your volleyball if you're keen on volleyball. Stick with that if you want to. Harder level is bringing one leg up at a time into tabletop. So the knees over the hips, shins are parallel with the floor. Same again, we're going to do a leg stretch. This is where you really need to think about that pelvis, so just leave the arms out of it to start off with. If you can feel your ribs and your lower back start to lift up a little bit, then you just need to think about controlling that with engaging a little bit more. Once you're happy with that, you can make it a little bit harder. Take the opposite arm behind you. Really control it. The knee that's not moving needs to be really, really stable. So if you look at the knee that's not moving, that's the important one really. So we're trying to get parts of your body to move and other parts to remain still. What's that called, Tracy?
Oh, I don't know. What's it called?
Disassociation.
Yeah. He likes that word.
And just a few more, and then we'll do a little recovery. So recovery is bring one knee into your chest and then the other, and just pull them in a little bit and look from side to side. Take some nice deep breaths. And so I'm going to do a rotational move next. I'll just move my little ball. So arms in crucifix, then I'm going to cross one leg completely over the other. Again, you can follow Tracy as soon as you're ready. So she's going to centre, she's going to rotate her legs to one side so the pelvis is moving. Shoulder blades aren't going to lift off though, there'll be some rotation and lifting of the rib cage. But the side where you feel your ribs sort of are pushed down a little bit, make sure they are in contact with the mat. So you're not lifting the whole of your rib cage. Just to show how not to do it, Tracy. You're not letting the rib cage flare up. You're keeping one side in contact with the mat and the other side may well lift. So why are we doing this one, Tracy?
Nice 1 foot movement in the spine.
Movement in the spine.
Spiral lines, obliques.
A little bit of strength in the middle there, your obliques, especially internal obliques, this one, isn't it? And then unhook, hook them the other way, and same again. So do keep
actually going right from side to side as well, you're not stopping in the middle.
a nice fluid movement. Keep centred, protect your spine, just that little drawing in, you don't need too much. Your spine's not under load, but you do need a little bit of centering, don't you?
Yeah.
Palms facing up. Anything else?
I think that's enough.
We've covered it. And okay, finish that. And then we're going to go on to all fours after a little recovery. So this time, just draw some little circles with your knees, and then take them the other way. Keep breathing. Smile, relax. And okay, we're going over onto all fours now. Just roll over. So again, I'll set up first. So feet and knees hip width apart, knees under the hips, little dip in the lower back, so we've got that neutral there. Shoulders away from the ears and drawn slightly together. Hands under your shoulders. Don't hyperextend your arms. So the elbows, the pointed bit should be pointing out really. Nice long neck, your eyes are looking around about where your fingertips are. Okay, so nice and simple. We're going to engage. You won't see a lot happening here. We're going to engage. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, try and push your hands and knees away from each other. So you're stretching the mat. Just 20-30% will do. You'll feel that engage. And your next breath, try and draw them together. And again, breathe out, push them apart. So this is a nice one for the core. It's isometric, we're not really moving much. But we're
Shoulder girdle there as well.
quite intensely engaging the core around the hips, shoulder girdle. There is an alternative. If your wrists are sore, you can do this on your forearms as well, like that. Or if your wrists do get sore during doing this. But actually, a little bit of weight on your wrists is good for bone density, isn't it, Tracy? You're keen on bone density, aren't you?
Yeah.
And stick with that. That is quite hard, but if you do this a few times or you feel confident, you take it a little bit further by lifting your knees. You can either tuck your toes under or leave them flat and lift your knees just an inch, not too far. That is quite hard, little box plank. Level 3, even harder, is you do that pulling together and pushing apart with your knees lifted, and that really is quite intense. So you can maybe take a breath and rest in between that. But Tracy's going to do that for a bit longer just to prove
It can be done.
Prove what a great core she's got. A bit more. No. And relax, and we're going to go into a child's pose. So just take your pelvis towards your heels and relax down, curl into the mat where you feel your ribs being separated. Imagine breathing into your rib cage there. Take some nice deep breaths. Stay there, but in a minute we're going to come back onto all fours. We're going to do a nice cat stretch or cat cow. And so coming back forward. So we're going to really try and get vertebrae moving individually almost with this. Segmental control, or again it's a version of dissociation. Really important. If you do that, you're using the muscles close to your spine. So we're going to start all movements around about the sacrum. So centre, take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to lift the lower back. Imagine the tailbone and sacrum moving away just a little bit. I'm going to try, don't move your head yet. I'm going to try and move.
Oh, no.
You were. I'm going to try and lift the back, but roll this movement along your spine. When it gets to about mid-back, separate your shoulder blades, and finally you can bring your chin towards your chest. Just keep a nice long neck, look towards your knees. Take a breath in, just squeeze into your abdomen a little bit to maintain that stretch. We've got a nice stretch there. I should say don't overstretch if you've got lower back problems with this, although there's not much weight on your back, but just moderate that movement. As you breathe out next, again we're going to start the movement from the sacrum, so drop it, don't move your head yet, Tracy. Don't move your head. Roll it up your spine as it gets to your mid-back, shoulder blades come together, then finally lift your head. Okay, not too far, it's too far. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to roll it again from that sacrum, so the rolling start. She's quite good at this, really. I mean, Tracy, don't move your head down. Don't nod. Roll it along your spine. So if you do get little bits of your spine to move at once, it means you're using the muscles that just span across the vertebrae rather than really long muscles. If you try and move your back with long muscles, you can end up with a kink in your spine as it pulls across those long gaps, and that's a problem. So we need your deep muscles, and this is how you train those deep muscles to work. So we'll go up into the last one now, and as we get up there, we're going to hold it, but then we're going to go into an angry cat. Just again, go back just as far as you feel comfortable stretching. So you keep that cat stretch, but then you move the pelvis back a little bit. You feel a really nice stretch. Where can you feel that, Tracy?
Where can I feel it?
Yeah. I feel it around there.
Yeah, I can feel it. Still upper as well, but yeah, accentuates that lower.
It just pulls into that back line a little bit more, I think. And so yeah, you get a nice long stretch. And breathe in. As you breathe out, move back to neutral, so into that box position. And we'll have a little rest recovery again this time. Hands stacked under your forehead, just curl into the mat. Breathe into your back again. Nice deep breaths. And okay, coming forward again, so we're going to do a little bit of swimming. We'll show an alternative position first. So why might we do this alternative, Tracy?
Well, that's the angle that we're working for. I'm stretched out and strong, but if that's uncomfortable, you can work at 90 degrees, or you can put the hands here and do a little bit of that.
So if your shoulders don't like being that stretched out, you can go into that position or that position. Okay, so important bit here again is we maintain that neutral spine. So a little prompt is just imagine drawing pins under your waist as you engage. Just feel as though you're lifting your waist off the mat a little bit. So we're just going to start off with legs stretched out nicely, toes pointed, and we're just going to work into the arms. So as you breathe out next, you're going to lift that arm just an inch or two and turn the palm facing inwards. Breathe in to lower it, breathe out, lift that arm, feel as though you're stretching it out a little bit, don't lift too far, palm facing in, breathe in as you take it down. So just work with that to start off with, get that movement right there. Remember, shoulders away from your ears, shoulder blades slightly drawn together. So although you're stretching the arms out, don't lift your shoulder, don't elevate your shoulder. Keep those shoulders pulled back and down. And then we can add some leg movement. So opposite leg, again it's not a big lift, it's just stretching that leg out. Don't let this go into your lower back, so keep that waist lifted. So as we did before, just engage a little bit more so you feel you're controlling that pelvis. Just show people how not to do it, Tracy. So I can see when Tracy's not doing it properly, she's dipping into her lower back. We need to keep this work in the glutes and the hamstrings, not so much the lower back. And just do a couple more. And then relax after that one. And to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, pushing back. We're going to go into that child's pose, but this time pelvis quite high, hips, shoulders and hands in line, so we're stretching across the upper back a little bit more. Then we're going to concentrate on one arm at a time, so we're going to bring one hand underneath your forehead, palm facing down, and just stretch the other hand out a little bit more. So now we are elevating that shoulder, we're stretching that shoulder out, we're stretching into our lateral lines. Where you're pulling that rib cage apart a little bit, imagine breathing into that rib cage there, a little bit of three-dimensional breathing, and then swap arms. That's good. Can you feel that, Tracy?
Yes, this one is.
And again, breathing into that opened area of your rib cage. Next time you breathe in, just bring your hands underneath your shoulders, just push away, or like that. And then we're going to line our back, and we're going to do a glute stretch and a hamstring stretch. So we're going to bring one knee in towards your chest, we're going to leave that knee completely flexed. So we should be pulling into that buttock, that glute, and stretch the other leg out. If that feels okay, that leg stretched out, just let that leg relax into the floor as you stretch into the front of that hip a little bit. A nice deep breath, and then we're going to straighten this leg, but we're going to let the knee move away. So try and do that nice and fluidly. Try and get that leg straight, and then we're going to flex this ankle. So we're going to point it and bring it back down. If that causes shooting pains, ease off that. Okay, you might be stretching into your sciatic nerve too much. But that you'll feel more of a stretch right down the leg with that little bit of flexing. And then relax the ankle, relax the knee, put that knee on the floor, drag the other back in. And we'll do the same on the other side. So knee to the chest, stretch that other leg out. Feel a stretch around your buttocks. You feel your buttocks?
Yes.
Keep breathing, stop laughing, and then we're going to straighten that leg slowly, let the knee move away, try and get it straight. If you can't get it completely straight, don't worry, but it's better to try and get it straight even if it's further away, rather than have it bent and a bit close. And flexing that ankle. Keep breathing. One more. Next one we're going to do is another glute stretch, but taking it into our trunk and across our chest a little bit. So if you want to sit like Tracy is. So we've got one knee bent, and we're going to do a crossover stretch. That's it. Cross the leg, the bent leg over the straight leg. So we're going to, with the arm on the opposite side, draw that knee across your body, lift that arm and rotate the trunk a little bit until we feel a stretch in the front of the shoulder there and down into your obliques a little bit. Take some nice deep breaths. If that doesn't feel good in the shoulder, you can pop that arm down, can't you, Tracy? So you can support yourself if that feels too much in your shoulder. Nice deep breaths, and then rotate back to centre, unhook, straighten that leg, hook the other one, reach across with the opposite arm, free arm out. Sorry? Toe sticking up, yeah, with the front, toe sticking up. Nice toes.
Thanks.
Come on, try and sit nice and tall. Remember that pole going through the top of your head, right through your body, so don't twist to one side, tilt to one side, or rock backwards or forwards. Try and keep them nice and tall if you can. Nice deep breaths. And we're just doing maintenance stretches with these, so we're not holding them for too long. And come back to centre. So our very last stretch is a little groin stretch. So sit tall, feet together, knees apart. Do this carefully. If you're tight in the thigh, don't apply too much pressure. Just let the knees relax. Nice deep breaths. I feel okay. I can't do this at the moment. I'm a bit tight in my groin. So really important muscles, those adductors, help stabilise your big muscles, aren't they? And okay, relax. And so we finished there. I hope you enjoyed that short mixed ability class.